here we go again. I got to get the camera. All right. Bienvenidos and welcome to episode 4 of the Your Time Junto con Ariel podcast. My next guest is also a fellow Falfurionite from Falfurrias. We grew up together and we got a couple of crazy stories from our youth that I'd like to share with you guys if he's okay with it. So without further ado, Mr. Joe Guerra.
What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, Joe, man. How's it going, man?
Great, great. How you been?
Doing great, man. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast, dude. We're
Oh,
doing
it's a
it
pleasure.
COVID style, since
Yes,
he is in the RGV and I'm in Corn, Texas, Elotes,
yeah,
right? So we're a
yes,
good distance away and I have a crazy schedule. I work, dude. I mean, I was working today and I just
yeah.
finished uploading episode 3 of the podcast with Mr. Andy Narvaez. That's on Facebook right now and on my YouTube channel. So make
I
sure you
look forward
guys
to seeing
check
that
it
one.
out. But
Yeah,
Joe, so
yeah.
you're down. Where are you living right now?
I live in Edinburgh, Texas, man.
Edinburgh, Texas. How long have you been
Yes,
there?
sir. In Edinburgh, it's probably been about, I would say 15, 16 years.
15, 16 years right now, right?
Yeah, I've been all over the valley, pretty much. But
Well,
I would say Edinburgh for about 15 years.
wow. And yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking a little bit about this before we came online
Mm.
here on camera. So you were telling me you're a strength and conditioning coach, right? Right now?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a strength and conditioning coordinator at McAllen Memorial High School. I oversee McAllen Memorial High School, and there are two middle schools that feed into our high school.
Uh-huh. And so how long have you been doing this?
Uh, with the title of coordinator, this is going on my 4th year, but strength and conditioning over 34 years, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And just to tell you a little bit about Mr. Joe Guerra here. I remember now then you graduated the year after me, right? You graduated 1992?
1992.
All right. Now I remember when you were a freshman, right? And pretty much just like strength just came kind of like natural to this guy, right? There were guys that were like seniors and, I think significantly bigger. I know you played football, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And,
Ma- Yeah,
and I think when it came to the bench press, that's pretty much the uh, thing all of us guys are into, especially in high
yeah,
school,
yeah,
right? How much can you
definitely.
bench, right? So I
Yeah,
remember seeing Mr. Guerra here, and I remember they put 3 plates. Now, that's which is 315, right?
315. Yeah,
315, right? And so now there was, I think, most of these linemen, the big strong men, maybe even like the seniors or the big dudes,
yeah,
you know, they're what, pushing maybe 250, right? On the bench
yes.
back
In
then.
high school, yeah, that's about it. Average
And,
for a lineman.
and I think at first, were you just holding it or were you able to actually go through full motion?
Freshman year, I was probably just holding it. The best I recall in freshman year is probably about 250 as a freshman. But I started uh, in my 8th grade year going into freshman is when I started training.
Yeah. Well, so
Yeah,
even just to hold 315 pounds,
yeah,
it's a feat in itself. I mean, the
yeah,
bar is literally starting to bend, right, with 315,
yes,
right? That's why you got
yes,
to have the clamps on there. Well, I remember him.
definitely,
It just came natural to you as far as
yes,
strength. So you started
yeah.
training like in a junior high?
Yes, I remember, and I'm going to start throwing a lot of names that from Falfurrias that pretty much got me started. But definitely Coach Bora
Oh
in
yeah, he
eighth
was
grade,
awesome.
Coach Delfino Garza. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, and I remember Coach Mora telling me, "Man, you're not going to be very tall, and you don't look too fast. You better get strong." And I took that as a good advice that I really wanted to take, and I started lifting. And then I think during that time, Gaddis has opened up Bodyworks,
Bodyworks.
and
What year was that when they opened up?
well, It might have been earlier, but I remember that being about 1988, 1989. Uh, and it caught my attention. I, wanted to start doing that, and so I started going to that gym.
Yeah. And I remember
Yeah,
that's where actually I started my fitness journey as well. Like I
yeah,
was never really into it wasn't until like I'm at I think 1993, and I started wanted to get into lifting weights. You know, I was like I graduated, I was like 150, right? Six
hmm
foot one, 150. I felt I was this
yeah,
little actually used to be called chupies, man, chupado. Yeah, and I wanted to put pack on some muscle, and I
yeah.
don't know if you remember this. Remember, what was the guy's name? Bill Phillips with EAS. Uh,
Yes,
I think it was called the Body for Life Challenge. It had like all
yeah.
these supplements, and so I started taking that, and I started working out there at Garza's. Uh,
Yeah, I think there was a thing called Cybergenics. Was
Cybergenics,
a
there you
big
go. It was like I
was it?
think it was something like maybe $150 back then,
Yeah,
but like $150
yeah,
1990s money was something like maybe like 250, $300
yeah,
today,
yeah.
right? So I
Definitely.
started on that, you know, got to put on a little bit of weight. And it's funny, like, you know,
Yeah,
when we were younger, it was all about packing on muscle, right? You wanted to be
yeah.
bigger, dude. Like you say, like I think one of your catchphrases, right, on one of your t-shirts was "Get chingon," right?
Get chingon or
Get
die trying.
chingon.
Yes, sir.
And so we wanted that, right? And so,
hmm
but like I think as life happens, you know, I
Yeah,
always tell people when you hit 35, that's when things start to change, right?
yeah,
You know, we can no longer party like we were when we were in high school. You know,
definitely.
definitely what we put into our bodies starts to show in our
Yes,
bodies, especially around the midsection, right?
definitely.
So,
Yeah,
uh, but my whole fitness journey started there at Gatsas. And then like, you
yeah,
know, it was kind of like this, you know, kind of like with me, it's always been kind of like I fell off the wagon, came back on when it came to
yeah.
exercise. And
Mhm.
now I see it as just something I do as part of my life. You know, it's
Yeah.
part of my daily routine,
Mm.
that that I'm into, man. I just like I said, I really love, you know, physical fitness, exercise is what I do
Yeah.
for a living. And
Yeah.
what about you? You work out regularly as well, I imagine, right?
Yes, I stopped competing in powerlifting probably about 9 years ago. I stopped competing. I did compete at different levels. I won 5 world championships and had a world record in the bench press, and it was a big part of my life for it's close to 30 years. But injuries. I never had a major injury. Then I tore a tricep tendon, the distal tendon on my tricep, and I'm gonna throw here another Falfurious name. I didn't want to have surgery. I ended up going to Dr. Joey Cadena and physio sports
Oh
therapy.
yeah,
Him and,
Joey.
and Sandra Cadena. Uh, and I went through therapy with him for a few months, taught me everything I needed to do. It took me about a year to recover, and I did it maybe a couple more years to compete. That competed, and then I didn't lose the love for competition, but I started realizing, like you just said, our goals are different now that you're older. It's not healthy for me to be benching 600 and some pounds anymore. It's not do it's Now it's that longevity and quality of life that we aim. So I still have a love for the strength sport, and I coach it, and I train people in it. And there's a part of me that still lifts heavy, not as heavy as I used to, but now it's about quality of life and being strong for my 70s and 80s. Uh, and that's so I'm still working out, but I do work out in a different manner, different goals. So
That's exactly, you hit the nail right on the head, right? Because it's
mm,
about functionality, right? And mobility.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
do. You know, I'm a physical therapist assistant, and I work with people that have those problems with mobility, right?
yeah,
Because like even with me now, my gym, I work out at Goals, but they don't even open till 5. I got
yeah,
to go in and work at 6, right?
yeah,
So for me to train, I'm pretty much, you've seen my videos online. I
yeah,
get up at
yeah,
2:30 to train.
yeah,
And the piece of equipment that I'm using is the kettlebell. Mine, it's basically functional movements. I do a lot of
Perfect.
push-ups, body
Yeah.
weight type of exercises,
Yeah.
core planks, side planks, lunges, stuff with the
Mm.
kettlebell. We're
Yeah.
working multiple muscles at the same time,
Yeah.
because that's what we're focusing on, both strength, condition, and mobility, right? Because just
Yeah.
like you said earlier, dude, once we get older, man, like these are people, and I'm seeing it now. These are people that
Yeah.
didn't take action when they were younger.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much effort is needed to stand up and to sit back
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Those quadricep muscles, glute muscles are not strong enough to do that. People struggle. You've seen them, right? You've
Yeah.
seen like the
Yeah.
viejitos, how they're like
Definitely.
they're doing
Yeah.
this and they struggle to get up. And then
Yeah.
imagine, it's stuff like just going to the bathroom, sitting on the commode.
Yeah.
Those
Well,
are things that people don't take into account,
yeah.
that they need to start focusing on building up their strength and
Yeah.
mobility so they can do those things in the
Yeah.
future, right?
And for me, that was a huge, I struggled with the change because I was always powerlifting minded. So I didn't do mobility. For a while there, I couldn't even touch my hand on my shoulders. So mobility was not something I worried about. This was like I said, the 90s, early 2000s of powerlifting where everything was just get bigger, faster, bigger and stronger. Now that I realized, man, my range of motion sucks. I started doing a little bit more mobility, thanks to my wife who's, pushing me to look at fitness in a different mindset. I do mobility. I'm not big on commercial gyms. I built my own garage gym that I'm eventually going to start, giving private trainings once I get it to the level that I want it to be. But I'm not. I guess my patience is gone weary. I don't like waiting for machines or waiting for anything like that. I have my own gym, man, it's been a change for me. There's no excuses. I can be tired, but you know what? My gym's open 24 hours. It's in the garage. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's crazy. I don't know if you noticed, I just got a notification, I guess because we're on Zoom. It says that it's going
oh,
to end like in about 10 minutes. But what we
okay.
can do you have WhatsApp?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we might need to continue this our interview on WhatsApp because I didn't know
Okay.
this. I haven't used Zoom. When was the last time you used Zoom?
Probably COVID time.
COVID
So
times, right? It's just like the funny thing is, man, everything now
yeah,
it's an upgrade, right?
yeah,
You need to pay in order to
yeah,
get
yeah,
more access to more content and even
yeah,
to promote your content. Me is like what I'm
yeah,
doing now. Of course,
yeah,
I'm a physical therapist assistant, but I am a I guess content creator enthusiast,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so if you want to create your audience, of course, you got to start paying, right? All the
yeah,
platforms, we're talking YouTube, Instagram.
yeah,
The only one that
yeah,
doesn't really require any kind of, putting money into promote your content is Facebook. I think that's the
yeah.
only one that doesn't, where you don't need to pay.
Mm,
They have like a budget, like even like TikTok, right? Of course, you can
yeah,
upload to the platform, but if you want
yeah,
views, if you want recognition, and for people to see your content, you got to pay for the algorithm to start promoting you
yeah,
out there,
yeah.
right? So why don't we do this? We're gonna switch over to WhatsApp if that's okay. It's just the
Okay.
same phone number, right? On WhatsApp.
Same phone number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna switch over to WhatsApp and continue the podcast there if that's okay with you.
Sounds good to me.
All
Perfect.
right, I'll call you here in a second, brother.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, we're back. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so uh, where were we? We were talking about working out and training, right? You said you got your
Yeah.
own setup at your house. What do you have right now at your house?
Man, squat rack that includes a bench press. I like I call it the pendulum squat, but I think it's a leverage squat machine, lat pull down machines, dumbbells, kettlebells. I put rubber all over the garage floor. Excuse me, my dogs. Hey. Sorry about that.
Nah, it's all
Uh,
right, man. It's cool. I'm
yeah,
surprised
the
mine are not in here right now.
yeah,
My female, whenever I come online, she wants to be in the middle and wants the
yeah,
attention. She wants to be on camera, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. I get it.
She's ready
But yeah, I'm
to do
slowly
that.
adding stuff. It's basically things that I wanna when I wanna start training people, strength training people for sports, or sports performance, that I could offer my clients, and also for myself. Uh, and So I'm slowly adding. I told myself I want to add every 2 or 3 months. I want to add a new piece of equipment,
Mhm.
until I'm fully happy, and it's getting there. Getting there. Canceled all my gym memberships. I have enough to do full body workouts already.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
That's 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 because I'm doing most of my training at home. The only thing is that I was kind of like toying with the idea of doing a triathlon, right?
Okay.
So they have access the swimming pool. They have the swimming pool there at my gym.
Yeah.
That's one of the only reasons why I still keep my goals membership, right? Because
Yeah.
right now I'd say about 80 to 90% of my training is done here at home, right?
Yeah.
And I'm focusing on because my thing was weight loss, dude. I wanted to do that
Yeah.
was well, you saw the pictures, dude. I was at 315 3 years ago, you know,
Wow. Yeah.
and I was starting to have major joint issues. Back,
Yeah.
my knee was killing me, dude. I mean, I was struggling
Yeah.
just to move. Even
Yeah.
up until last year, dude, when I was able to drop down to 250, and I was still
Hmm.
having issues. I even went to like a um, an arthritis specialist, right?
Yeah.
And and they were to have a check out my knee. Do I have something going on? I thought I'd actually torn my meniscus. Right, that's how bad
Yeah.
it was. And he goes, "No, your knee is fine. It is like inflamed, right?"
Yeah.
And because I was still able to move, and I was still running at 250.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what was causing major issues. Because
Yeah.
you have the um, all that pounding of that weight at that joint,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And like I said in one of my earlier videos, that the game changer with me, dude, I was actually on HRT for a while, and
Yeah.
because us, once we hit a certain age,
Yeah.
those levels start to
No, I've
dwindle.
dealt with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on it, HRT?
Yeah. Yeah. I was on uh a testosterone replacement, for a bit. I was on test cypionate, uh for a good while, but then I started thinking more about the longevity. Was I wanted my natural test to go up, so I they put me on a thing called Clomid, uh
And
which,
clomiphene?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's supposed, and it was on it for a while. My insurance company changed, and then they're like, no, you don't need it because so I looked at more natural, ways of doing it, but it all came back to consistently working out. Consistently working out will naturally also raise your testosterone level. Now you're not going to be like you're in a teenage years, but and when I started consistently working out again 3 to 4 times a week, uh, then I felt myself with more energy. I felt myself getting stronger. Right now I'm on protein and creatine. That's the only supplements that I'm on. I'm off any hormone things, but I feel I feel great. And that's because I'm in the weight room with the kids that I train at 6 in the morning, and I don't get out till 6 in the evening. And I train every sport from cheerleaders to basketball, volleyball, everything, boys and girls, all day long. And I
Mhm.
come home and I get my workout in. So I still have enough energy, at 52 years old, to do all of that.
Yeah.
And I feel really good about it. Now, if I didn't work out, I don't think I'd be able to function. So
No,
yeah.
exactly. I agree with you 100%, brother. Because right now
Yeah.
I'm not on anything either. Right now it's
Yeah.
just my thing is fasting. I fast and
Mm.
I'm on high protein right now, and
Yeah.
I'm pescatarian. I mainly just eat fish.
Yeah.
I still do
Yeah.
chicken, but like beef, I
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I love it. Right. The only
Yeah.
problem with me, the way my body responds to it, is I retain water whenever I eat beef.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
and usually it'll take me a while to get rid of that excess
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was another reason
Yeah.
why I gave up alcohol, dude. I don't do alcohol at
Yeah.
all. Right? One
Yeah.
beer, 2 pounds of water, I'll retain with
Yeah.
one beer, right? And
Yeah.
that's just one. So I drink more,
Mm.
the bloatedness and all that stuff. And it just not, to me, it's just not
Yeah.
worth it, you know. And
No.
and don't get me wrong, I have nothing against anybody that wants to drink beer or alcohol.
Yeah.
Hey man, to
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
his own, like with provolone. It's just
Yeah.
it's just not for me.
Well, I've never been a big drinker. Anybody that knows me has been or hanging out with me, including yourself, 2 or 3 beers at the most. I've gotten into whiskey lately, but it's rare that I do drink, and it's also for the same reasons. Is I feel like crap afterwards. You know what I mean? But I won't shy away from a beer when I'm hanging out with the buddies. And I got like I said, I'm on this health kick, but I also want to live a little and enjoy my friends when I get to hang out with
Yeah,
them.
there's nothing
You know what
wrong
I
with
mean?
that. Like drink, like
Yeah,
social drinking, right?
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so no, I just don't do it anymore. And
Yeah,
but um, fitness, it's really important.
mhm,
And as far as we were
yeah,
talking about earlier, as far as your mobility, being able to move.
yeah.
So where is it that did you say you were coaching right now?
McAllen Memorial High School.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I'm pretty much I train everybody, man. From we start our program from 6th grade all the way to high school. Of course different levels. We're not going to have our 6th graders doing what our varsity players are doing, but we are instilling the basics of strength and conditioning, and we have our cheerleaders in our program. We have our football, every sport, tennis, cross country. They're in the weight room at least 2 to 3 times a week, in season, off season, just to for sports performance. Because a lot of these kids nowadays, they'll say, "Yeah, I go to the gym," and my first question to them is, "Well, okay, what do you do in the gym?" They're like, "Well, Monday I do chest and triceps, and Wednesday I do back and biceps." And to me, that's all cool, but that's a bodybuilding split, which does nothing for sports performance. I'm here to get you bigger, faster, stronger, more mobile, and more explosive. And a lot of times these kids thinking, let me just go to the local gym and work on my biceps 3 times a week and expect to see that performance in the football field. And it's just educating them and the parents about something like that. It is basically what I do every day. So
No. So when you're talking like when you're going athletics, it's more like, you're going to talking about plyos, sprints,
yeah,
drills, stuff like that. That's applied to the sport, the
yeah,
kinesiology, right?
yeah,
My
definitely.
son, I remember that's what I was helping him. He's a soccer player, right? Now, I don't
Yeah,
play soccer, but I
yeah,
know what's really important for the sport is the ability to sprint and to be able
yeah,
to maintain your cardiovascular stamina, right? So
yeah,
certain drills I had him doing, even as far as
yeah.
plyo, right?
Mhm.
So just like you were saying,
Yeah,
just getting in there and doing a bodybuilder workout is not going to help your performance when it comes to athletics.
yeah.
You know
No, no.
that's different. It's goes go back to here we go again.
Yeah,
Like like I was
yeah.
telling people on my podcast, I try to go circle, right? Everything's going back to what you were
Not a
saying
problem.
earlier. Function,
Yeah,
right? Functional
yeah,
movements, right? We need it
yeah,
for sports and we need it for our daily lives, right?
yeah,
The to move um and get around and do our activities of daily living. It's something
yeah.
you're in McAllen, right? I was born in McAllen,
Mhm.
but of course I was raised
Okay.
there in Valfurrias, and heard something pretty interesting, right? Have you heard what the fattest city in the country where it's at? You know what city it is?
McAllen.
Okay,
Mc-
and guess where the fattest city in the world is?
South Texas or McAllen again?
It's McAllen as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Hey
think
man, the restaurants are good down here, buddy. It's
uh,
the Mexican food is great, man. Uh,
they were
yeah.
showing there was a guy that I think his name's Jesse James. He's like a
Mhm.
fitness YouTuber, right? So he went down there to the valley, and they were showing like in the malls, right?
Yeah.
está lleno de esos carritos, right? The
Yeah.
little to go. Everybody drives around in those carts, and they were
Yeah.
saying that like another that like as far as like parks and stuff like those aren't easily accessible, right? Of course, you guys
No.
have them, but they may be somewhere
Yeah, well,
away.
it's picking up, man. It's picking up, especially here in Edinburgh and McAllen. You're starting to see more walking trails, more parks that have things for pull-ups and things like that. So there is a good movement here lately in the Rio Grande Valley that's opening up a lot of gyms, but stuff that's free. We live 2 blocks from a walking trail with a nice little lake and everything. And my wife and I would try to go at least once or twice a week to hit that. But I know there a lot of people look down on the valley since we came out. McAllen came out as one of the fattest cities, but I am starting to see more attempts to change that. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, once again, but the food, man,
Really
makes it
good,
hard.
really good. I think, well, we're not that far off, dude. San Antonio's in the
Yeah,
top 10. I think they're all Texas
yeah,
towns, dude. I think it's
yeah.
McAllen. I think San Antonio might even be the second one, right, dude? And I think
It could
Dallas
be,
and
could
Houston,
be.
you know.
Yeah.
But I like that. Did you ever see that meme where they're talking about, as far as the menu in the valley, right? You had
Uh-huh.
small, medium, extra large, chingon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they definitely overserve. They definitely overserve.
Yeah,
But
if you even
it's good stuff. It's good stuff. There's a lot of places that are opening up around here that do meal preps for you. They're
yeah,
they're
yeah,
selling you convenience,
yeah, that's good.
and they're doing really well. They're doing really well.
I'm glad. I'm really
So
glad to hear that because
yeah,
as far as health, right, and
yeah,
longevity, they were talking about diabetes and
yeah,
other health issues, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, all those attributed back to lifestyle and the food.
yeah.
He was saying like the average person, and like of course I'm not saying you do, but like the average
Mm,
other people in the valley, they normally will do 2 breakfasts, right? They'll do
yeah.
like the pan dulce and the cafecito,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then it's the breakfast. That's like that's like on the way to work. And then when they
yeah.
get to work, there it's the breakfast tacos, right?
Or somebody brought tamales to work. Yeah,
Tamales. You
that's
know the you know what the funny thing is, dude, is why is barbacoa only on the weekends?
it's harder to make. I think maybe I don't know. Yeah,
And here that they do a barbacoa and Big Red festival,
yeah,
right? It's like those
yeah.
two are like a South Texas staple, right? They go together.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely,
Like on the weekends,
definitely.
you have they actually HEB has the package deal, right? Where it's a 2 liter
Yeah,
thing of Big Red, a pound of barbacoa, and the tortillas together, right? And
yeah,
your bolsa is wrapped and ready to go, right?
yeah. But another thing when it comes to the diet in the valley is we went to Sprouts. I don't know if you have a Sprouts over
Yes,
there,
sprouts, yes.
which is
Mhm.
okay. And we went, said, we're gonna get more natural foods and stuff like that. Oh my God, it's so expensive compared to foods that are not healthy for you. So they're making health a little bit more expensive than when you're trying to buy something at HEB or Walmart or anything. It's a little more expensive. You go to, but it's not healthy for you.
Yeah,
And you go to Sprouts, and man,
yeah.
it's rough. It's rough.
It's just like
Uh,
you're gonna pay eventually, right?
Yeah,
You're gonna pay
yeah,
later on in your health, right? So like
yeah,
me, I go to freaking HEB like every almost daily, dude.
yeah,
Because I'm buying. If you want to eat healthy, well, the stuff's got to be fresh, right?
yeah,
I'll get my salmon. Dude,
yeah,
there's one thing that I love now, and I never thought I would be eating. Right? Is
yeah,
sushi. Do you like sushi?
yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
never
I
had
do.
to do it. Me da
Yeah,
asco when I used to think I tried it
yeah,
once, like about 20 years ago, and I was
yeah,
like, right now,
yeah,
dude, I love it, man. I freaking love
yeah,
sushi, dude. But salmon,
yeah.
I can eat that like every day. And of course, I still do
Me
chicken,
too.
chicken and vegetables. But like I said, it is expensive, right? But I'm
Yeah,
willing to pay now
yeah,
if it's going to help me in the long run. Because like in FAL,
Yeah.
dude, you've been to the HEB in FAL.
Yeah.
They don't have access to any of that, right? Because
No.
HEB is only going to put stuff on the shelf that sells. And like
Yeah.
you said earlier, the healthier food is more expensive, right? And it's
Yeah.
just not in people's budget to get
Yeah.
that food. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things like it's you damned if you do and damned if you don't. So
Yeah.
for most people.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're coming up with these like meals, like you're saying, these meal preps. And
Yeah. Meal
what do they
preps.
charge? Like what, $7, $8 a meal?
$7, $8 a meal. And then if you buy a week supply, then they reduce it. There's a plate, one of them that even cooks the meals in front of you. You could eat there. Uh, that's about 4 blocks from my house. And they're called Fit Grill or Fork to Fit is what they're called. And man, they're good. They're good meals. They get you filled up, and you could get all three of your meals in one day. You're going to from home to work. I'll pick up 3 meals and I'm ready to go.
And that's cheaper than
And so
Factor, man. Factor is expensive, dude. You're talking
yeah,
like I think the last time I looked into it, uh, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like $160 for what
yeah,
6 meals, I think.
yeah. I believe it. I believe it.
And
And they're
and
selling convenience. We try to do as much food prep here at the house as we possible. I got one of those Blackstones, and I'll cook up as much as I can, and it I could make meals on Sunday. I can make meals from Monday through Wednesday, and then Wednesday night I'll cook for Thursday and Friday. It's just sometimes we're so exhausted that we don't want to cook, and these places are there for convenience. So these places I use as a backup plan, but usually we try to do our own cooking. It's healthier for us, and we know exactly what we're eating. So
yeah.
mm,
Oh, cool. So, Joe, you
yeah,
have a line of workout gear, fitness gear, right?
yeah,
A clothing line.
yes,
And what's it
yes.
called?
Absolute Strength Barbell. It's a little. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. It's something I've been trying to get it, not just a clothing line, but I do online training. I've been just I have such a passion for it in all of my life that I kind of just want to share that. And my company used to be called Get Chingon,
I
as you
remember that. I have
remember.
one of the shirts. I think
Yeah,
I'll put a picture of it here on
yeah,
was it where I think we're at the Iron Maiden concert. I was wearing it.
yeah. And that used to be, I was a little more hardcore into my powerlifting days at that time. But I felt like I kind of made my population a little bit smaller. Now with Absolute Strength, it is you know I tend to look at it as a strength in everything, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's an absolute thing. Or how strong can you possibly be? The my girls powerlifting program, we've gotten into a mindset where we're talking about being strong, not skinny. I think girls get a lot of pressure on
Mhm.
being skinny,
To be
and we
thin.
don't focus. Yeah, we don't focus about being healthy and strong. So our saying in our team is strong, not skinny. Uh, and strong has different pictures. I mean, strong can look like different things. You can have a little meat on your bones and be healthy and be strong and things. So absolute strength barbell is something that promotes that. We're looking for strength for the rest of our lives. So that, and it's just something I've always liked creating shirts and logos, man. So it's just something that I've been putting out there, and it's been doing very well. Really excited about it. I try to get a new logo out at least once a month, but I do everything in house. The screen printing, everything in house, and so sometimes I'm a little slower than most companies, but I'm doing it all. My wife and I are doing everything ourselves. So
Yeah, that's
it,
awesome.
it-
You eliminate a lot
yeah,
of the overhead, right? As far as
yeah,
other employees,
yeah,
if you have a warehouse, you got to pay rent on the place,
yeah,
all of that stuff. You get rid of that. Of course, and like I said,
yeah,
it's like a passion project, kind of like what I'm doing here. This is just a passion
yeah,
project,
definitely,
something that
definitely.
you really enjoy doing, And
Yeah.
if it grows, great. If it doesn't, that's the way I'm
Yeah.
looking at this as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
but that's awesome, dude. I love. And
Yep.
like I said, once you right now, it's only for you only have female line of clothing right now, right?
Yeah, my men's logos are coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm just waiting for. I wasn't really happy with one logo, and I'm fixing that. Then I'll be putting out some of the men's things, and then I have a powerlifting series coming out of shirts because powerlifters love t-shirts, man, and it is. And I'm gonna be at several pop-ups, and we'll have several powerlifting meets that I'll be having a pop up in. Some gyms around the area are allowing me to have a pop up just to promote, and that's what I've been doing. And like I said, the my real passion is just getting people stronger. High school students, I've had some parents reach out to me from Falfurias that have kids that want a strength trainer, they're asking for advice, and I'm more than happy to do that. So if anybody ever needs that, they could reach out to me. Uh, I know I don't know what their school is offering, but I know that I've gone to schools in other towns and helped build their program from sixth grade all the way to high school. I do charge other schools, but from if my alma mater ever calls me, I'm doing that for free just because it's foul. And it's been a successful program. This Our past offensive linemen in this past varsity team, every single one of them was benching over 300 pounds. So it's something I have a
And how
passion
old how
for.
old
And
are how old are these kids?
uh, varsity, they're anywhere from 16 to 18 years old. But I right now, my girl powerlifters, I had a sophomore girl deadlift 405 pounds uh, just by following the programming. And the programming that I do is it's a year-round programming, but there's different blocks. So a different time of year, we try to peak at a certain time. So I write programming. It's not just a cookie cutter programming. We find what your weakness is, and we try to strengthen those weaknesses. Let's say you're not good at pulling or a deadlift, then we're gonna change certain things. And it's a year round thing. My powerlifters that have been successful train year round, even when they're in other sports. So that's why I'm there at 6 in the morning because they may have uh softball practice after school. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna go do your softball, but in the morning you're gonna come get your strength training. And they'll show up, do their strength training, and then after school they'll go do their softball. You
And
know,
how long is their training program when they do their strength training?
as man, I don't. It could be anywhere from 45 minutes
To like an
to
hour, to
an
an hour.
hour.
Yeah.
It depends on how heavy it is. The heavier we go, the more recovery time I want for their between their sets. Uh, but our main thing, especially at that age, is recovery. We have some kids now, and I don't remember us having travel baseball back in the day. Travel baseball, travel volleyball. All these Some of these kids are playing volleyball year round, and
Well, those are like what they call like the club teams,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And I have my own opinions of that. Like I said, this doesn't reflect my employer or anything like that. But I feel that there needs to be consistent strength training, mobility training, in season training, but there needs to be recovery. We've seen so many kids nowadays getting injured
Injured. I was just
or
about to
having
say that. I was just about to say that.
bad knees at 15, torn ACLs, and things like that. But you know, a lot of it attributes to no recovery time and having weak tendons because they don't rest them. They don't do any strength training, and so that's what one of the things we try to prevent is not just strength training and getting them stronger, but trying to do preventative movements. I do a lot of iso holds for ligaments in the ankles and knees, uh, and things like that. So we're trying to prevent injuries from happening. So
Yeah.
that's one of the jobs that I do.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't really take into consideration is recovery, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're
Yeah.
training, right, you're tearing muscle fibers, right?
Yeah.
And how muscles get stronger, they need to rebuild, and it's done
Yeah.
through recuperation and rest. Sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is
Yeah.
important.
Huge.
A lot of people don't realize that that's a very important part of your fitness program. It's kind of
Yeah.
everything's all connected, right? You got your diet, you got your training, and you got your rest and recuperation, which is done through sleep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if you do not, then you don't it never heals, and then you're just pushing it harder. And just like you
Yeah.
said, you have the injuries, especially when it comes to tendons and ligaments.
Yeah.
Those actually take a lot longer to heal than muscle and bone, right?
Yeah.
Because muscle and bone uh, can get proper blood flow. Like a
Yeah.
ligament is basically like a rubber band, right? So
Yeah.
therefore, it doesn't get the same type of circulation like
Mhm.
your large muscle groups, and like I said, your spongy bone.
Yeah.
So those take a lot longer to heal from. Like for me,
Yeah.
I had one of those actually in my hand.
Okay.
In 2013, I was in a motorcycle accident, right? I used to drive a
Okay.
Harley, right?
Mm.
And I was coming back from a Universal City, and there's a
Mm.
turnaround that goes like this, right? Now,
Mm.
I took it at 70. Now, Harleys are not
Okay.
sport bikes. They don't
Yeah.
corner like the way a Ninja or a
Yeah.
Hayabusa does, right?
Yeah.
So, this I know that there's a God, right?
Yeah.
What happened was I lost control of the back tire, right?
Mm.
And I went head first into the pavement. And I was
Wow.
doing about 65, right? Of course, I was wearing my helmet, right? So I hit pictures. I think got all smashed.
Mm.
There was a policeman right behind me who immediately stopped the traffic so I would not get run over. The bike hit the curb and flew over, right?
Yeah.
And what hurt the most was my hand, and that's
Mm.
what I thought I had broken it. And so the
Yeah.
policeman says, "Do you don't call the ambulance?" I was still walking, and there were some friends. What I was doing, I was coming back from a Wounded Warrior rally in
Okay.
Universal City,
Okay.
and so there were some people, some other fellow bikers that were passing by. So they said, "No, we'll take
Mm.
you." So they took me in the car, and when I got into the emergency room, they put that thing in my pescuezo, right?
Yeah.
And they went and they ran X-rays, and they said that no, it's not broken. You just
Yeah. Thank
bruise
God.
all these ligaments. Dude, it was almost
Yeah.
a whole year before that finally healed. I couldn't even put
Yeah.
my hand like this, to do like a
Mhm.
push-up. I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. So and it was a ligamental injury. Your what's it called? Your
Yeah.
carpal, the wrist when you get carpal tunnel. It was
Yeah.
right there, and that what they call is a triquetrum, that little bone that's right here. And I'm surprised
Yeah.
that I didn't break it. But
Mm.
man, like I said, goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Ligaments, they take
Yeah.
a long time to heal. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that you're doing that. You're incorporating that with those kids and teach them
Yeah.
that they need to work on their mobility. So
Yeah.
well, it's going to help them in all aspects, right? It's going to improve their
Yeah. Definitely.
performance as well as prevent injury.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
because
And we're not just educating them, but educating their parents. Like I said earlier, I get some phone calls or texts. I have a 10-year-old. I'd like to get him in a workout program, and they probably don't like my answer most of the time. And I wrote this on one. I write blogs as well. If you go to my Facebook, Absolute Strength Barbell, I write blogs, and part of my blog was, a free play. Back in our day, man, we would go outside and freaking climb trees, run around, hide and go seek, tag, whatever season it was we were playing. Basketball, football, baseball in the barrio or anything like that. I remember George Villarreal, good buddy of ours. Uh,
yeah,
uh, you know, there was a lot behind his house, and that was our football field, our baseball field, whatever season it was. But nowadays, and I sound like an old guy, but nowadays there's so many kids that are just playing video games, and that we're seeing big kids because I have so many. Like I have a mom call me, "Oh, my 10-year-old, he's a big boy. He should play football." And kind of upset her because I'm like, yeah, I don't know if he'd be any good at it. And I'm very honest. She's like, well, he's so big. And I said, I understand that, but he's kind of immobile. He's kind of slow, and there's some things we need to work on because I remember having big guys in our class, but they were mobile. They could run, they could move, and now we see these kids that they're just big, and mom makes them and dad makes them be in football, and they hate every minute of it. They can't get into a 3-point stance. They can't come off of their movements because their hips are so tight because they never did anything other than play video games. So when parents that kids that age ask me, I like them, have them go outside and play. When that's their workout, yep, have them go outside and play. Right when they start getting to sixth grade, pre-puberty, seventh grade, then we could start incorporating a little weight training, and that's what I do. Our program is called Elevate in sixth grade, and they start squatting with PVC pipes. They're doing power cleans. They're going to the whole motion. Seventh grade, we start incorporating a little bit of weight. Eighth grade, they're almost in a. I like to do it. It's called the 5-3-1 method. Um, and then going into freshman year, they already have 3 years of strength and conditioning in them. You know what I mean? So I don't have to reteach the squat or the bench or the deadlift or power clean because they've been doing it for 3 years. Now we could build on that foundation that started in sixth grade. And that's what a lot of these small schools like Fulfurious uh, are not doing,
Mhm.
and I feel that they're already behind other schools or bigger schools because they missed 3 years of possible good training, and it's just something that we incorporated. Our athletic director and McAllen ISD is huge in strength and conditioning, and he supported this. You know, he got on the bandwagon. Now I'm once a week. I'm in one middle school, making sure they're doing uh, our program, and then so I go to two middle schools, and the coaches there are running the program the way we like it, and we're starting to see. I have their data, like their maxes or their from sixth grade all the way to graduation, and you get to see them grow, and it's been working out very, very well for us. Our girls in volleyball make the Elite Eight. Uh, our soccer program is probably going to make the Elite Eight, top four, maybe win the whole thing. Um, Baseball, football, it's just we've been doing really, really well in it, and it's because of buying into a program.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. You're
yeah,
talking about these big kids, right? Because of course, it goes back to like when growing up, they were outside, they were moving, right? These are kids that have
yeah,
had sedentary lifestyles, right?
yeah,
And have you seen that meme where it's yeah, of course it's in Spanish. Tú hablas español, claro que
yeah,
sí,
yeah.
¿no?
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely, yeah,
he goes, no, 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 mijo, no estás gordo, estás fuerte.
see, yeah, yeah. They
But that's the
associate it.
mentality that they're the way they're
Yeah,
teaching them. But when it comes to actually participating in a sport, like I said, since they haven't been mobile, the
yeah,
thing that right now I saw even on TV when they were talking about basic training, right, for the
yeah,
army, right?
yeah,
Most of the recruits have led sedentary lifestyles. So
yeah,
they're having to put them in a pre-boot camp just so they can
yeah,
do regular boot camp, right?
yeah. Thought I
Because
read that.
they're
Yeah,
struggling to get through the basic PT that they got to do.
yeah,
Some of them can't
yeah,
even run three-quarters of a mile, much less a mile. And
yeah,
what I also found interesting, and I don't know if the whole military is like that, right? When
yeah.
they were showing I always thought when you were in the army, right, you ate what they gave you, right?
Hmm.
So they were showing them when they were going to eat, and of course, I think this was the army. It looked like freaking
Yeah,
chopsticks, here in San Antonio buffet. And
yeah.
what they did is
Well,
they had in front of the food, they had a yellow marker and a red marker in front of the school.
okay.
In front of the school, in front of the food, right? And
Yeah,
the red was the bad choice,
and the yellow was the healthy choice. And they left it up to them to make that
Wow.
decision, right? Now, this is the
Discipline.
army. This is the army.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, dude, you're in the army. It's like chow, right? And you
Yeah.
basically you eat what they gave you. It's either you had on the menu, you had two options: take it or leave it, right?
Yeah.
So but they were struggling. The recruits were struggling to get through basic
Yeah.
training because they've led a life. We didn't grow up with the internet, right?
No.
Uh, our all our entertainment, like you said, was outside. We
Yeah.
were physical, right? We were mobile. Uh, Now a kid is born with an iPad or a phone in their hand, right?
Yeah.
And they're spending, say, if they're not in school, they're spending what maybe 80 to 90% of their time
Yeah.
online, right?
Yeah.
And not moving, not doing, physical activities, not being
Yeah.
outside. And as you can
Yeah.
see, it's actually even affecting their social skills, right?
Yeah.
Their ability to communicate with other people. I'll give you an
Hmm.
example. For instance, was it last year? um, my son wanted some new shoes, and it was on the tax-free weekend.
Yeah.
So the manager of the store was a young kid, like maybe
Yeah.
21, 22, right?
Mm.
Bunch of people there, right? So he picks out this shoe. I forget. It was the Nike, that one that has that weird Air Max thing on the bottom. They
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
like $200 shoes,
Yeah.
right? So he picks one out. He likes it, and so we show the manager, which gave it to him. So he goes to the back. Now we're expecting to come back with the shoes, right?
Mm.
He comes back, and I tell him, he wears a size 10 and a half. The shoe that we pulled
Yeah.
off the shelf was an 8.5. So he goes back. He comes with one shoe, 10 and a half, and then walks off. And we're like, whoa, what are we supposed to do? He's got 2 feet, and he took off, right?
Yeah.
And he was going around.
Yeah.
So, and I go up to him and I go, "Hey, sir, I'm very busy right now. I can't help you."
Yeah.
He's a manager, right? So we had
Yeah.
to put it together. There was a line, right? And what you did is when you got to the cashier went and got the box with the other shoe and brought it
Yeah.
to you. But
Yeah.
why couldn't he explain that, right? How long would that have taken him to do that?
Yeah.
Right.
It was overwhelmed.
Like all of
Yeah.
like maybe 10, 15 seconds. But you can
Yeah.
see that this is the type of kid that doesn't have the social skills to be able to
Yeah.
communicate. And he's a guy that's in public service, right? You're working at
Yeah. Definitely.
a retail store selling tennis shoes where you
Yeah.
you have to talk to people. You have to be able to communicate with them in order to sell the product. But
Yeah.
that freaked me out, and you see that a lot. Like that's one of the reasons why a lot of businesses or like restaurants, fast food restaurants and
Yeah.
fasturias, they don't
Mhm.
make it. Like I think it's Stars. Is it still open, Stars?
I think so. Yeah.
But like I think they were starting, like I know like Walmart, they
Yeah.
closed because they were having a lot of trouble with employees and like theft and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
That's what I heard.
but you're seeing people that these kids that they I don't they struggle a lot when it comes
Yeah.
to intercommunication skills and social skills. As far as
Yeah.
them
Definitely.
talking to other people.
Yeah. Just problem solving in general as well. It's different. It's different.
And so
Yes, sir.
you can see the difference and like how they're growing up compared to how we grew up, right? And like
Yeah.
we kind of like I think we had it the best, dude, because we were born in the
Yeah.
70s, right?
Yeah.
We were young kids in the 80s. We were in our 20s in the 90s, dude. So we
Yeah.
experienced the
Great era.
the best
3 great
of
decades.
3 great decades,
Yeah.
not to mention
Yeah.
the music, right? The music.
Yeah. Walk into my weight room at the high school, and my kids know 80s metal. They're like, "Oh, we're listening to your old man music." I'm like, "Definitely." It's pretty much our music. They know the songs already, but they call it dad rock, but
That's right.
it's good.
Like now, if you left it up to them, what would they listen to? if they in the gym?
Rap.
Uh,
It'll be rap, rap, R&B. You know, uh, my rule for them, if they work really hard, I do let them have a day, and as long as it doesn't have any profanity.
Profanity.
So they made a playlist that's called "Clean for Guerra," uh, and they get to play that. I can't get into it. I've tried my best, man. It got to the point that I start drowning out the music, but to me it's you gotta reward as well. I ask a lot of these kids, the amount of pressure they have in strength training and just getting better and building. I ask a lot of them, so it's good for me to reward them. And if it's something as simple as letting them pick the playlist, let them have the playlist. They're doing their job, and they're dedicated enough to do something. I'm gonna reward them. As much as I hate the music, I'm gonna reward them. So
Have they ever tried to play Two Live Crew?
no, no, I don't think I don't think they've ever even heard of it. Thank God. No, but yeah, Two Life Crew is way. Uh, I guess. I guess it's even worse than what it is with the stuff that is now.
Yeah,
But I
it was
just
very controversial back then. Them and
yeah,
NWA, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I think they're the whole reasons why they started putting the E or the M,
yeah,
what do you call it, the rating on like music, right?
yeah,
Explicit.
yeah,
And
definitely,
it was
definitely,
it was because of them back in the day.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I remember that on cassette. We were, of course, I was in
yeah,
the band and we had that playing. And like, because, back then we had like the boom boxes, right? With the
yeah,
cassette
yeah,
players. And we were playing that. And I think Mr. Kelly and I heard it. It's like, what in the
yeah,
world is that? You can't be playing
yeah.
that here in the bus.
No, no, yeah. No, but yeah, like I said, so yeah, it's different, man. With these I'm around teenagers all the time now,
Mhm.
and uh, just I have to talk to them about what we used to do and how we grew up, and I think that's what I've had such good success in our powerlifting team is relationships that you build these kids and know these kids, and so you got to tell them a little bit, not your private life, but they need to know why you're asking this of them and asking certain reasons for them to be a little more structured in their life. And it's cool to get to know them because it makes them feel good, man. You ask them, hey, how was that test you took yesterday? And I
Yeah.
think being a coach, doing that, taking interest in them, and they'll run through walls for you. I tell people all the time, I'm asking a 105-pound little girl to step under 300 pounds of iron and squat it, and she's doing it. Because she believes in herself that
That's
much.
awesome, dude. That's awesome.
She believes in her training so much. And we've had the program's been around for 10 years. We've had 6 state champions and 34 state medals in that time. And I attribute it all to them and believing in the program, buying in. And because now that there's a new word called I'm locked in. And I ask them, what does that mean? What do you mean when you say locked in? And to me, it's like, well, I'm focused. And I'm like, yeah, but is it just here in the weight room, or are you locked in your recovery? Are you locked in your diet? Or are you just locked in when you come to the weight room? And a lot of times we had to change the term locked into. Are you locked in 365 days, uh, you know, a year, or are you just one of those that locked in for this next 4 months of powerlifting? And once they started changing that, you started seeing them grow as people, but also grow in the sport. I have 11 girls that are on the team. Out of those 11, 9 are the top 5 in Texas right now. And we have the state championship at Bird Ogden Arena in Edinburgh in during spring break in March. I'm really excited about that, and I brag about them all the time because the amount of work that they put in, and it's awesome to see a kid who has goals, and then they help you write the programming, right? that's going to get them to their goal. Because I asked them to help me write the program. By the time they graduate, they could write their own programming for their weight training. Because I'm a CSC, I'm certified strength and conditioning specialist. I know how to write programming, but when they leave, like they know how to write programming.
Yeah.
So because kids nowadays, one thing, I said all these things that they don't do that we used to, but now there's things that they're doing right. They ask questions,
Mhm.
and you can't bullshit them. You
There you
can't bullshit them because Chat GPT is there, YouTube is there, Instagram is there, all these different things that they're gonna research you real quick.
go.
You know what I mean?
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I emphasize for them to ask me, like, why am I doing a floor press today? Why do we do floor press after we bench press? Like, okay, because we need more triceps. You're having trouble locking out your bench press. So we're going to do 3 sets of 5 with 80% on the floor press. Okay, cool, coach. And they'll go do it. And old school ways, we were afraid to ask our coaches anything because I said so. You know what I mean? That's why you're going to do it. And now these kids, you can't do that.
Do
You
you know
can't do
anything
that.
about like as far as the training program for like the football players over there?
Mhm.
Now, I remember doing, I don't know, when I was a freshman, I was a basketball player, right? But
Yeah.
during the off season, I remember they were running us through the football program there in Falfurrias. And
Yeah.
what we had to do, I remember bear crawling, right? Of course, bear crawling is tough, dude. But
Yeah.
this was there was pinche cadillos in
Yeah.
the field, right?
Yeah.
And the coaches knew about these stickers that were there, and we still had to bear crawl through them. And
Yeah.
do you remember rubbing noses? Rub noses? Did you ever do that?
Mhm.
Now, do they do stuff like
Yeah,
that
I
now?
remember that.
Do they still do stuff
Yeah.
like that now?
No. No, no, no. We can't do any of that
Okay,
stuff.
for you
Yeah.
guys that are watching the podcast, I'm trying to get me back as the emphasis on me is not working here. Uh,
Yeah.
but well, anyway, what Rub knows is basically it was Greco-Roman wrestling, right? So
Yeah.
you would go up. There was no weight classes when we did this, right? The coach could put a
Yeah.
freshman. Me, I think I was as a freshman. I was like 5'11" and weighed like 120. You talk about
Yeah.
chubby, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't remember who I wrestled against, but he was significantly bigger. But so the idea when you do this, it was wrestling. When you got your opponent down on the ground, you got dirt and try to rub in the nose. That's how you determine who won the match, right? Who was
Yeah.
able to successfully get the dirt in their face, right?
Yeah.
So that was part of the program that everybody had to go through it, no matter if you were just
It
a
was it
cross
was a,
country.
it was a psychological mental building mental toughness according
Yeah,
to them. You know what
or
I mean?
if you're a cross
Yeah.
country runner, you had to go through that. If you're a basketball player, whatever sport you were
Mhm.
in during athletic period, you ran through that. Basically, it was almost like boot camp, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think
So
that's
off
what
season.
helped
Yeah.
harden us, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's no way they could do stuff like that now, right?
No, no, not like that. We do have our own methodology, but we do a lot of last man standing kind of stuff, like get in a split
Plank
squat,
or
holding
plank.
holding a barbell, ISO hold. Who's gonna hold it longer? But we do that for the culture. We want our kids cheering each other on, pushing each other on, just a winning environment, pushing. But as far as something like that, that's borderline abuse. We don't touch the kids. We don't let them do anything like that at all, man.
I
It's
remember I remember going
mm,
home, dude, and you had like it was all full of like those little red dots
the
from
stickers. Yeah,
when we were
yeah,
the bear crawling, man. And
yeah,
I hated going to athletics back then, dude.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
kind of what turned me off, because if I were to go back again, dude, I probably would have gone into the Air Force, right? Because they
Yeah,
have their own physical therapy program there. But the whole
yeah,
reason why I didn't go into the military was I wanted to do boot camp. That was the
yeah,
only reason why I
yeah,
didn't go into it, right? And
yeah,
like the irony of it now
yeah.
is that like I do all those things in my
Mhm.
50s, that would have been
Yeah,
a lot easier to do when I was 18. But I
yeah,
goes back to what you were saying earlier, the mindset, the
yeah,
discipline. wasn't there
Yeah.
back then, right? I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
that. If I would have gone into the Air Force, I'd probably be retired now, right? And I'd probably
Yeah.
still be doing this, but I'd be getting my retirement plus whatever my
Yeah.
salary is. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping my son is seriously thinking about doing that, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of kids, you have two girls,
No, I have my daughter,
daughter.
and I have my son. He's my stepson, but
Stepsons,
he's my
yeah,
son.
you got two kids, right? How old are they?
Yeah, I got two kiddos. My son is 19, and he's going to college for culinary,
Mhm.
and he's working. And
Awesome.
then my daughter is in her senior year, and she is huge into theater and drama and musical drama, and she sings amazing. I'm not just saying that because she's my daughter, but uh, which is very different for me. I try to put her in sports. Pobre mija, she cried every moment of it,
Wasn't
and
about
then we put her into a summer Parks and Recreation theater program, and man, she was probably about 6 years old, and it just clicked for her, and it's just something that she's been doing ever since she was a little girl, and I think she wants to pursue it after college. I mean, after high school, and so I'm a theater dad, man. I'm front row at all these plays and enjoying every minute of it. It's a lot braver than I could ever be. I said it all the time. I've competed in world championships, and I've competed in Bench America, which is televised, and I could never, ever, ever do what she does.
be up there on
You know,
stage.
and singing, like just letting
Oh,
that out into a crowd, and they, wow, to me that's fearless. And I just I was won over by drama and theater, and the amount of work these kids put into it, man. And same with my son. He just works real hard. He's gotten a passion into cooking. I thought the passion would go away, uh and he's trying to pursue it, wants to go into culinary and take it as far as he can, wants to maybe eventually even go to Europe and study some cuisines, and he's always in the kitchen, man, making something up, which I love because I get to we get to
Well,
eat.
that's glad. I mean,
But
you're a great dad for supporting them in their interest.
yeah,
That is so
yeah,
awesome. I'm glad to
yeah,
hear that. You know, you're talking about
yeah,
theater, right? Like I was saying, go back to the circle. My last guest right
yeah.
before you was Andy Narvaez. I don't know if you
Uh-huh.
remember. You know, I talked about it in the podcast. He was in a play,
Bro,
uh,
I,
and
I remember Andy very well.
and
One of my what, good.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
And one of my greatest memories of his uh, is I think we had a talent show, and he came out singing "Little Runaway" from Bon Jovi when he was wearing, I think he was wearing gold pants, bro. But I was like, this dude's a freaking rock star. Like I didn't know. And then I have him on Facebook. Like I don't. It's been 30, years plus years that I ever spoken to him,
Okay.
and we didn't know each other too well. And I was a little freshman or sophomore, I think, when that play happened, or I mean that talent show. And I remember he jammed out "Little Runaway,"
Yeah, Bon
and
Jovi.
man, I thought it was the greatest thing on earth,
That's a
man.
great song. Speaking
Yeah,
also of that, I don't know you remember. God rest his soul, Damian Chapa, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
man. Remember? Yeah.
there was a like a Halloween play that they put on,
Hmm.
and the guy that was going to be playing Frankenstein, I don't know who it was, but you remember the whole House Bill 72. You know, if you didn't
Yeah, yeah,
pass, you couldn't participate in any kind of UIL,
yeah, yeah,
stuff. You know, it wasn't a competition; it was a play, but still, no pass, no play. So they
yeah,
got Damian Chapa to play Frankenstein, right?
yeah,
And now I think he had like 2 days to learn the lines. Okay,
yeah.
he did not learn them. Right.
No,
Okay, dude, but that's one of the funniest. He improv his whole part
yeah,
on the play.
yeah.
And dude, it was the funniest thing ever, dude. I
Well,
still
Damian
laugh.
was one of the funniest guys I've ever known. Damian was hilarious. Yeah, it was a. I can see him. I kind of remember. I think he would just moan or
Yeah,
something.
he's like,
Uh,
and then he would
yeah,
like you'd fall on the ground, and I think he was he was God, what's his name? He was married to Rita Monades for a while. He's from Encino.
Javi,
Javi
Javi.
was
Yeah,
was there with them, right? And like he was going off of him because complete improv, dude. The whole
Yeah.
thing, dude.
Yeah.
But everybody in there was on the floor, dude. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. I put him as kind of like a Robin Williams, dude. That's how he
Yeah.
was. He was very good at, like, with improv. And he could
Definitely.
make you laugh, dude. It just come out of
Yeah.
nowhere. He was a comedic genius, dude. And I think
Yeah.
that's he could have seriously been, like, a comedian, like a
Yeah.
stand-up comedian. Because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
guy was hilarious, man. It was funny.
Yeah. Everybody has a story for Damian. Everybody has a few. Whenever you get together with Danny, and then his name always Damian's name pops up, and he always has a funny story about that
Uh,
guy. Yeah.
Speaking, like I mentioned earlier, and at the beginning of the podcast, Joe's sister. She's when we
Yeah.
were young, she was the babysitter, right, for me and
Yeah.
my sister. And so Joe
Yeah.
would come over with her, right? And it was the summer, we were bored. Yes, you had to go
Yeah.
back to tying stuff in on improv. Back in the
Yeah.
day, they used to be cassettes, right? I mentioned it earlier, and the boom boxes, right? But what you
Yeah.
could also do on these cassettes was record,
Yeah.
whatever you
Yeah.
wanted, right? We'd record off of the radio our favorite song. We'd have to wait for it. We'd call it
Yeah.
in, right? But you could also just record yourself talking, right?
Yeah.
So me and Joe, man, I wish I had that tape now.
Huh?
We Do you remember this? You know where I'm going, right?
I have memories of it. Yeah.
We were doing, like, if we went into a haunted house, right?
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we were just making it up on the fly. But I remember one part of this recording that we did. We were running away from the monsters, right? And
Mm.
I go, quick, let's go. And now I meant to say stairs. Okay. So, quick, Joe, let's run down the stores. And he goes, yeah.
Yeah.
And you say the stairs. Yeah, quick. Yeah, let's run down. I said it like twice.
Yeah.
It's the stairs. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Oh man, if I
Yeah.
had that tape now, man, it was priceless, dude. Because
Yeah. No, we have those memories. My sister brings y'all up all the time, especially when she, because her ranch, her and her husband's ranch is literally right next to y'all's.
yes, out there at the Guajillos.
It's two gates away. Yeah, and then my father-in-law's is across from that. So we're there all the time, and I go, yeah, I go, Mr. Science, Adriel, and they have the ranch over here. They've had it for way longer than we have. They've been here forever. She's like, who? And I go, yeah, Adriel and Monica. She's like, what? She's like, really? Got really excited. She's like, oh my. She's like, oh my god, I probably haven't seen this since I
It's been
babysat them.
40,
And I'm like,
like
yeah,
40 years, man.
yeah, yeah,
Was the last time I saw your
yeah.
sister. She doing okay?
Oh, she's great. She's a registered nurse in Corpus Christi at Christus Spawn Shoreline,
Or like,
and she's been there. She's been a nurse for over 35 years.
wow,
Uh,
that's awesome, man.
So yeah, she loves what she does, and her husband bought that little place, and they're there probably every weekend. They have a nice little pond and things like that. They made a nice little cottage out there, and they're pretty much there like every weekend,
I was
just getting away from the city.
I was telling, like, my dad's got like 60 some acres there. And I've
Yeah,
been, like, toying with the idea. I mentioned to him, of course, when it hunting, since yes, it's big, but not significantly big for hunting. And not to mention, I don't think we
yeah,
have very many deer there.
yeah,
But when I had toyed with the idea, because you got middle-aged men like me and you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're in our middle age. But hey, 50 is the new 30, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So to do something like have you ever heard of? I think it's called a Men of War. What they do is
Mm.
basically, guys, remember, go back to Tongue Circle, right? Where they
Yeah.
put together like a boot camp at these ranches,
Okay.
and some of these guys will pay like $1,500 for the week, right, to go out there.
Okay.
You get, say, a drill sergeant, and they'll run them
Yeah.
through like a boot camp, right?
Yeah.
And you set up the obstacle course.
Yeah.
If you want to get like a shooting range, they can do maybe some like weapons training. Not training like a
Yeah.
militia or anything like that, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but stuff like that. I mean, I would like to do that myself.
Yeah.
So
I like to put Fred Garza through that, but
Oh man, dude! Speaking of that, do you remember the Iron Maiden concert, dude? I remember.
yeah,
Remember the picture that I posted of him.
yeah,
You see? Did you know what I'm talking about? Like I had made a
yeah,
picture of after the concert, right? We were all
yeah,
staying in his hotel room,
yeah,
and Fred was like, man, dude, he was gone. He was drained, dude.
yeah,
He wanted to crash, and it was like the
yeah,
after party, dude. So he was just there on the ground, passed out, So
yeah,
I take a picture of him, right?
yeah.
So and okay, and I regret it now, but it was
Oh,
funny because I mean he hated, he was mad at me. He was very mad at me at the beginning, but now I think
oh yeah,
he laughs at it,
yeah. He's
right?
over it.
I had
Yeah,
put a picture, and Iron Maiden after party in your 20s, and it shows a bunch of
yeah,
like 20-something-year-olds with Iron Maiden shirts, and they're up there with the horns, right? And then I
yeah,
put Iron Maiden party in your 40s. And show Fred.
yeah.
You know,
Hey, well, I'm looking forward to the one in September.
yeah, it's awesome.
I'll be,
I'm gonna be there, dude. These have
yeah,
become like high school reunions for us, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's crazy. Like I think one year we almost missed the concert because we were having so
yeah,
much fun outside in the parking lot, dude.
yeah,
It's like, hey man, dude, we're gonna miss the show. Let's go inside. But basically,
yeah,
you have what people that have graduated from maybe 88 on to like maybe 19 mid 90s that go
yeah,
to these concerts.
yeah,
And so it's
yeah.
gonna be a blast, dude. I'm looking forward to it. The
Same,
only thing sometimes
same.
you get kind of concerned when you see. I know that Bruce Dickinson, he's getting up there, but he can still perform,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, heck yeah.
Because there's like certain you've seen videos of like some of these aging rockers that are still
Vince
on stage.
Neil. He's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dude. Did you go to that
yeah.
show? Me and Andy were talking about it. The stadium tour. Were you
No,
there?
I didn't
Okay.
make it.
Well, I went to it, right?
Yeah,
And dude, Vince, they were saying
yeah,
dude, he was struggling back in the 80s, man, to get through his
yeah,
set, and I ain't I can't sing worth the crap, I was doing you seen my karaoke video the other day, right? But dude, he can. The funny thing when we were there, we bought our tickets right before COVID, right? We were on the
yeah,
sixth row and we paid $150, right? Not
yeah.
bad. So the day of the show, there were these two girls there, and
Mhm.
they were saying, "Man, we just got these tickets today, right?" And she goes like, "Hey, can we ask you how much did you guys pay for yours? 150." Their mouth fell out here. We go,
Yeah.
"How much did you guys pay?" 1,500
Holy crap.
a piece. 3 grand, dude.
Yeah. Oh,
three
hell no.
thousand dollars. And
Yeah,
it's crazy how expensive tickets are now. But you know what that
yeah,
goes back to? Because nobody buys the music anymore.
yeah,
Back in the day, we bought the cassettes, we bought the
yeah.
CDs. And
Everything's
now
streamed. Yeah,
everything's on. So how are they going to make their money? It's got to be
yeah, you're
through
right.
to the concerts. So
Yeah,
the only thing is like StubHub, and
yeah,
StubHub basically is legal ticket scalping, right? I'll tell you a story
yeah,
about StubHub, right? A couple of years ago when I was single, right? Um,
mhm.
there was a girl that said there's a place called Flores Country Store. Have you heard of it here in
Yeah, yeah.
Hillhurst?
You ever?
And of course, Katya, you know this. I've told you the story, so she don't get mad at me.
Yeah,
She was younger than me, you know,
yeah,
30 something years old, and she goes, "Hey, are you gonna go to Flores tonight?" And I go, "No, Midland's playing." And I said, "Okay,
mhm.
I'd like to see you there." Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Now I've been to concerts in Flores. They're normally
Yeah,
about $40, right?
yeah.
Okay. Well, StubHub bought all those tickets, and guess how much they went for?
150?
200.
200.
200.
Holy crap. Yeah,
And so, God and I, like I already said that I was going to be there, right? I'm going to look like a
yeah,
pendejo, if I
yeah,
like stand her up. At least that's what I thought I would be doing if I didn't go. So,
yeah,
you know what I did? Klarna, right? You can do
yeah,
that now with concert tickets. You know,
yeah,
you can do it in 4 payments. So I
yeah,
pay. the $200, pay the $50, whatever. So go to the show, right? She's there with a couple of friends. 6 minutes into the show, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. That went on. And at the time, Flores is right here around the corner, right? And sometimes when I'm going to a venue on the weekends, dude, I used to work in home health, dude, driving all day long.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll Uber to wherever I'm going to do on the weekends because it's just right here, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, well, we're going to go to a place called, I think it's called Stetson's. No, not Stetson's. It was a Thirsty Horse. Now I was confusing that with Stetson's, which is actually here in Elotes, right?
Yeah.
So I get the Uber because I didn't really know her. I just met her, and she was all these other girls, and I'm not gonna say, can I ride with you? I'm not gonna do that, right? So
Yeah.
I decided to get like an Uber, right? So
Mm.
this dude, this is a crazy night. And so I'm here waiting for the Uber, 15 minutes, which is long for an Uber, right? That's
Yeah.
about so 2 minutes before he arrives, the driver cancels on me.
Oh crap.
So I have to ask for another Uber, another 15 minutes. So when I get the Uber, now it's been 30 minutes that I've been sitting outside Florida's country store. I get into the car. Now, it's not in Elotes, it's over on Blanco, which is clear across town, right?
Yeah.
So it takes me another 30 minutes to get there, right?
Yeah.
And then I get there and girl's nowhere to be found, right?
Dang it.
Ni modo, go back home.
Yeah.
So halfway home, I thought, hey, where are you? So here's the grand total, right, for the night,
Yeah.
right? $200 for the ticket and $120 for Uber.
Yeah. I go home. Yeah.
And like I said, gotcha, so gotcha, bialibio. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy story, but it's just the mentality also, because this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the way they think, right? They didn't take into consideration the, what I was doing. I told her I was Ubering there, and they told me and she knew, and I told her about what I had texted her that, the guy canceled on me. I'm running a little bit late. I'll be there. And she's okay. To get there,
Yeah. Nada.
crickets. So, but that's one of my crazy stories, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The way this generation, the way they relate, and that's why you don't see them really getting married, right? Either.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of like nurses that are like in their 20s. So they don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids, right? It's not what they are planning to do for their future. And so
Just be
therefore,
responsible for themselves. Yeah.
yeah. And like my son says that he wants to have a family, but like, I kind of feel, sorry for him because like what his choices on potential mates, potential wives.
Yeah.
Nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just some of the crazy stuff that I've been through, I've experienced. And, like I've been working with and I used to go into people's homes, and I've met people from all over. Here in San Antonio, we've got people from every corner of the globe, right?
Yeah.
And there was this one time I was going to go work with this individual. He was a bilateral amputee, right?
Okay.
When I get to the door, his wife answers the door. Now she looks Japanese, right? So I said, yes, my name is, like they at work, they call me by my first name. I'm Fernando, saying all, gringo. I'm Fernando from such and such rehab, and I'm here to work with Mr. Rodriguez. She just looking at me like she didn't understand anything I just said. So I go, how am I going to communicate with this lady?
Yeah.
And she just goes, ¿Hablas español? Claro que sí, señora. Pues mi esposo está atrás en la pieza. ¿Puedes venir conmigo, por favor? I was like,
Yeah.
claro que sí. So I followed her back there, and I was like freaking out, this lady speaks Spanish, you know?
Yeah.
And that hers was that was an interesting story about her. Her father is Japanese, right? Her
Mhm.
father's family lived in San Diego, California during World War II, right?
Okay.
So what was going happening to Japanese Americans during World War II, right? Some of them were being put in these concentration camps for the duration of the war, for
Yeah.
fear of potential spies, right? Or
Yeah.
I don't know, sympathizers. I don't know.
Yeah.
This. So her father's family went to Tijuana for the duration of the war. He learned Spanish, fell in love with a Mexican woman, they got married,
Hmm.
and had kids. So she was half Japanese, half Mexican, but she looked
Wow.
full blown uh, Japanese. And
Japanese.
she only spoke
Wow.
Spanish. She didn't speak English
Wow.
or Japanese. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
also one place that I went to, there's people from, like, you ever ran into anybody from Jamaica?
It's been a while. Yeah.
Been a while.
But yeah.
Now, they have their own, I think they call it patois, is what they speak,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, it's weird because it's English, but the syntax is totally off,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So like I was freaking out, I was wondering, am I hearing them wrong? They were talking,
Yeah.
they were all English words, but it was all like just terrible. Like, do you remember the movie Marked for Death with Stem Seagal?
Mhm. Yeah.
The Jamaicans. So they that was an experience too. So like I said, I've come
Yeah.
across a lot of different experiences, dude, working in home health.
Yeah. Man. Going to people's houses. I'm sure you seen some stuff.
the Over there in the valley, dude, they at back in the early 2000s, dude, they were paying crazy money for healthcare workers
Yeah.
down.
I think they
Yeah,
still are.
yeah, especially Brownsville. I think Brownsville is the
Yeah.
hot spot. My sister took a job there at one of the hospitals, dude, and she was only seeing like two patients a day, and they were paying her a crazy salary. But my
Yeah.
sister prefers to work with kids. She works in Hebronville, and
Okay.
geriatrics was not her thing. She wanted to do peds, the kids. And I've worked
Yeah.
with kids too. I used to with home health, working with
Hmm.
kids with disabilities. A lot of them were
Yeah.
kids that were on the spectrum, and there was one. They were from Nigeria. Now the kid
Hmm.
was about 12, and he was autistic. And his
Yeah.
mom wanted him to strengthen his core because he felt that he was slouched all the time. He was
Yeah.
also a kid that was always on the
Yeah.
iPad, right?
Yeah.
And so the whole guy we're trying to get him to sit on the ball, sit up tight, and focus on his core. Now this
Yeah.
kid would do this, right?
Yeah.
And he was just dead weight,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm here trying to lift him. Now this was in August, so
Yeah.
it was really hot, and so they didn't want to jack up their utility bill,
Aircraft.
so
Yeah.
they wouldn't turn on the AC or the ceiling fan. So I'm
Oh
here
man.
trying to pick this kid up and put him on the exercise ball, and
Mm.
he's just dead weight, dude. And dude, I came out of there drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
The funny
Wow.
thing is, as soon as I got to my car, I got a chime on my phone. Guess what he was doing? He was sitting on the ball. By
There you
himself.
go. So it wasn't worth the. I mean, it was worth something.
Yeah, and but for them, I guess because they're used to the heat, and so
Yeah.
therefore, we've gotten used to like AC, dude. We run it full blast
Yeah.
all the time, but there's people
Yeah.
like that. Like the same thing. I've been to the Ukraine, right? I was in
Hmm.
before all of this happened. I was in Crimea, which is
Okay.
technically part of Russia now, right? They got annexed,
Yeah.
and we're riding the bus. Now on these
Mm.
buses, they don't roll down the windows, right?
Okay.
They have just an opening on the top of the bus to ventilate everybody, the people that are in there, right?
Yeah.
They're used to it. Dude, I was also, again, they must have thought like I was on some kind of drug or something,
Yeah.
withdrawal, because I was sweating like a pig in there, right? Um, but that was an awesome experience, dude. Being over there, dude, I got like a freaking house on the beach for like $30 a
Yeah.
day at the Black Sea, you know.
Yeah.
But them, they like here's a Russian happy. Here's a Russian mad.
Yeah.
Well, they live kind of like a hard life there. It's like I think the people in Mexico have it better than them because they earn the equivalent of
Wow.
like say 50 cents a day, an hour, right?
Okay.
This is back then, in Crimea, but uh, crazy, dude. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, dude, this has been an awesome experience, dude. I'm so glad that you came on my
Yeah.
my
No, I'm
podcast.
glad I did as well. Yeah.
Um, so tell us again about where we can get your merch.
You go to Absolute Strength Barbell on Instagram, and on Facebook, Absolute Strength Barbell. I'm usually promoting something. Right now, I have my hoodies. I'm doing a drop on hoodies right now. Just click the link. You can place an order, and I'll get it to you guys. Like I said, it's just a little side project that I do that I've always had a passion for, and it's going to build to my future eventually when I retire from uh the school that I'm doing. I want to be training people on the side.
That's awesome,
So
dude.
eventually Absolute Strength Barbell will become a gym of its own. But at this moment it's out of my garage. So I don't have that overhead and I could train a couple of clients uh you know whenever I can. I also do online training. Uh you know I work with people online for powerlifting, strength conditioning, sport performance, anything like that. Uh, I'm all about that, man. And like I said, 30 some years experience, and it's been like I said, it's been a hell of a ride, but it's not over yet. So
Yeah, dude.
it's been
Yeah, you're
well,
doing what you love, and you're also, like I said, uh, I'm working with people, starting off with people from my hometown, and that have this
yeah,
same type of mentality. It all goes back to, you notice all the guys like my first guest was Celinda Bradshaw. She's from Encino, right, dude? She's taking care of
yeah,
her 90-year-old mom. You seen her videos
yeah,
that she does? She posts
yeah,
online with her
yeah,
mom, right?
yeah,
Great person and individual that's still looking out for a family member. Uh,
yeah,
you know, uh, Mr. Ernesto Varial there in
yeah,
Comfort. He's all about helping out the people in his community. He works in real estate. Andy,
yeah.
working out of
Great
ICE,
guy.
works at a cancer center. Where
Wow.
he's dealing with people that are going through a difficult illness, right? And showing them
Yeah,
the
yeah,
empathy and sympathy for what they're going through. You
yeah,
working out with the kids from the youth, and
yeah,
the good thing about you doing that they're learning this type of discipline that they're going to apply to every aspect of their life, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so that's great that you're doing that,
yeah,
and like I said, I want to kind of like reach out to other people that are interested in coming on my podcast to
yeah, for
promote
sure.
them, in whatever it is that they're doing, like little side passion
Yeah,
projects or whatever, dude. Um,
yeah,
I'm all about. I love hearing people's stories. I love telling stories. Uh,
yeah.
Speaking of that, just there's a guy named Mr. Ballin. Have you ever heard of him? He's on YouTube.
Mm-mm.
He tells these stories that are the truth are stranger than fiction, right? And there's
Yeah,
this one story. It's something. It must have taken place like early '80s, somewhere in the Midwest. And there was this
yeah,
one dude in this town, 6'9", 300 plus pounds. If you were to look into um, the definition of bully, his picture probably would
mm,
come up, right? The dude would do
yeah,
basically whatever he wanted and get away with it. Well,
yeah.
the dude was also a pedo, right? He was
Okay.
after like a 13-year-old girl, and he would
Yeah,
stalk her and just park outside of her house and just keeps, just be there. So finally her dad
yeah,
comes, right? And, what's your story? And he tells her that he wants his daughter. She has to sign over custody to him.
Wow.
And he says, "You're crazy. There's like no way in hell that I'm going to do that."
Yeah.
So he kills their dogs, sets fire to their house, right? And he gets arrested, he's back out. He says, "It's going to continue if you just give me your daughter." And like the dad does it, right?
Yeah.
And so he legally marries her. And, when she is now 16 years old, and she has like a 3-year-old, and they're in a store, and the little girl gets candy, and the store owner scolds her for doing that, right? And the little girl starts crying, this and that, when she's a teenager. So she goes and tells her husband, who's this bully dude, comes to the store and shoots him.
Wow.
Shoots him in the neck. He just misses the carotid artery, right?
Mhm.
And so he survives. They arrest him, and then same thing.
Yeah.
Judge, whatever. Nope, he gets out, and he's going around town with a gun, saying that he's going to finish the job. He's going to take him out.
Yeah.
And so this guy, store owner, is like now in hiding, right,
Mhm.
from this dude. And then, so they have a town hall meeting.
Mm.
And they say, "What are we going to do, man? This dude, he's going to kill poor Nestor here, and he's going to probably get away with it. We have to do something."
Yeah.
So one night he's having dinner with his wife at some restaurant. 3 armed men come in. He doesn't have the gun this time. They said,
Mhm.
"We need you to go outside. My wife is with me. My wife is with me. Don't worry about your wife, right? She's not going to be harmed.
Yeah.
But we need to just talk to you." So they go outside. They gets into the truck, and all of a sudden, 30 men with rifles show up.
Wow.
They pull his wife out, and Bonnie and Clyde.
Wow.
Remember? And do you remember the movie Roadhouse at the end?
Yeah.
When all the people were saying, when the police come and ask, it's like, we don't know what happened. We have no idea what
Yeah.
happened. But his wife tells the cops, they killed him, but it's her word against the Downs. And to this
Yeah.
day, no one's ever been convicted of any
Wow.
crime or homicide, murder, whatever. Right. And that's a true
Yeah.
story. And that's what this dude talks about, like on his YouTube channel called Mr.
Okay.
Ballin. These are true
I have to
true
check 'em out.
stories that happened.
Yeah.
Now, I think maybe he kind of run out. He basically ran out of these true stories. He maybe just be telling stories, but he's very good
Yeah.
at doing it, right?
Yeah.
Another one was of a dude. I think it was in Thailand, and over there in
Mhm.
Asia they do these prank shows, right?
Yeah.
And this one young girl wanted to become a movie star or whatever. So she comes on this prank show, and they tell her, what we're going to do is we're going to find one man in the lobby. You put oil in his face, and the other girl's going to put this powder, and he's going to be all covered in white. It's be funny. You guys, you just run to your room, and we'll contact you after that. So she does it. They find the guy. She runs to the room, and she feels she don't feel good. Right? She starts barfing, but she's 21 years old. She was out the night before. She figured because she's partying, right? So she passes out. She wakes up the next day, calls the number from the talent agency. It's been disconnected.
Mhm.
So she's freaking out. She goes to the lobby, and a bunch of police are there. They see her. They start running straight towards her. And then she's like moving aside. But no, they arrest her. They put her in handcuffs,
Mhm.
right? And they go, what am I being arrested for? Murder.
Oh, damn.
And well, it turns out what they were combining, these were two chemicals that create VX gas. You remember from like The Rock,
Oh,
with
shit.
Nicolas Cage? So the guy
Yeah.
that was in there, you see, they have it. It's on, the surveillance cameras. The dude just like, he just he grabs his throat and like he falls down to the ground, and he later dies in hospital. Well, it turned out that this dude was a relative. I don't know if he was a brother, cousin, or whatever of Kim Jong Un, right? So she was an unwilling assassin, right, to this dude. And well, she got off because obviously, it was obvious that she didn't know what she was doing, right? She got sick herself. She got exposed to the poison. But these are, true life stories that this guy talks about,
That's crazy.
That one, Joe, but I'm going to let you go, man. Like I said,
Yes, sir.
Check this guy out, Joe Guerra. He's a great dude, father, coach, and amigo. And like I told him,
sir. Appreciate you, man.
February the 21st, man. Hopefully you can make it out there. And at the end of our podcast, I'm going to see if I can get a picture of us. I'm going to do like a screenshot. Okay. So let me see. I can get it here. All right. I'm going to do one of me. All right. All right. And then we'll get one with you as a highlight. There you go. With the horns. Wait. There it goes. There goes. Okay. Perfect. Joe.
Yes, sir.
I hope to see you out there if you can make it. If not, we have to definitely get together.
It depends when that powerlifting meet ends. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't mind making it out there, get some rancho life. If not, for sure, I know I'll see you at Maiden. That'll be another, so we can have more stories. But yeah, definitely, man. I will definitely see you.
All right, man, guys. Everybody, hasta la próxima. Vos vemos. Peace.
Peace.